Right then, ladies and gentlemen, all roads lead to Dubai. It's a repeat of the 2012 IPL final. I'm talking about Chennai Super Kings up against the Kolkata Knight Riders. And many would say that these two teams deserve to be there. We'll ask the man, the OG, best analyst the game has seen. Jarrod Kimber is back with us and back with us with a bang. Jarrod, first gut feel when you talk about this final. What's going on in your mind? Because for me, I just can't really pick a winner. Chennai really doesn't it all come down to the toss? Because look at the stats. I mean, the last 8 games in Dubai, all the teams batting first has lost. KKR love chasing. Chennai love chasing even more than KKR actually. I mean, is it win toss, win game?
No, I think that Chennai have the ability to win the game in ways that Kolkata don't. So, for instance, I think that Chennai can make 180 runs, depending on the wicket, obviously, but they can take the score to a point that I don't think Kolkata can get to. I don't think there's anything that Kolkata can do that Chennai can't do. Does that make sense? So they can match them with almost everything along the game. The only thing that would be awkward, of course, for Chennai would be if it's a wicket that suits very fast bowlers. And Kolkata have a couple of extra fast bowlers, then Chennai are going to be able to go in with, depending on Josh Hazlewood, of course. But that would be my only sort of, throw back towards Kolkata. I just think Chennai's a better team. But you're right. I mean, look, this is the thing that they did an analysis of like NBA teams recently. And like everyone says, 7-match series, the best team always wins. And like when they did the analysis, they realized that you'd need like a 24-match series to make sure that you know who the best team is to have won. And we've got a one-off T20 game where we know that the best teams in T20 cricket don't usually win more than 60 to 65% of the time. And when they're going up in a final, you've got 2 of the best teams going up against each other. So, Delhi's been quite clearly in the best 2 teams or best 3 teams in the last, 3 years really, but certainly in the last 2 years. And they don't have a title. And, that's what happens in these sort of knockout games. You can be a very good team and things don't go your way. But Chennai, to me, looks like the better team with the deeper batting lineup, the more bowling options, and the ability to make more runs. Based on all that, I would certainly be picking Chennai. But Kolkata, of recent times, looks like they're in better form. And they could bring back Andre Russell, which would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun, and that's definitely part of our talking point just as we go ahead. But
no, I've mentioned him now.
Okay, we will. I mean, there was also something we did yesterday, so check that out. I'll leave the link in the description below if Jarrod actually thinks Andre Russell will get the nod. But speaking of which, this is KKR's 3rd final. I mean, they have a 100% record in the finals that they've played, 2012, 2014. Will it be 2021? The City of Joy and their fans will certainly be saying yes. On the other hand, Chennai enter their 9th. And if they win this, it'll be some sort of success rate. But they've just always been there and thereabouts. But there's another subplot, which is KKR haven't played enough games in Dubai, Jarrod. Now, they've played just 6 games in totality in IPL in the UAE, which is way below than any other team. I mean, all the other teams that I'm looking at here have played 10 minimum games in Dubai. Is that a factor that this team is kind of alien to the conditions, as funny as that sounds?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think there's probably enough experience throughout that lineup that those players have, gone through those conditions. I don't think the conditions in Dubai are so massively different to some of the other pitches that they've played on at home, let alone within the UAE itself. But if you're offering, if I'm an analyst and you're offering me that, one team who's played in a place a lot and one team who hasn't, I would generally go with the team who's played a lot. So yeah, it's probably, I mean. It's almost like Kolkata became kings of Sharjah at a certain point, didn't they? Or sultans of Sharjah, I suppose.
Yeah, so and on that, sorry, just to add that point, I mean, it's chalk and cheese of what they did in Sharjah and IPL 2020. They lost all their games there.
Yeah.
And here they won all their games. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think almost everything that happened before about 3 weeks ago, it seems to be very odd from Kolkata. In fact, everything that's happening with Kolkata now is still very odd. But yeah, look, I think that they would obviously prefer it to be in Sharjah, but I don't think it's the world's biggest disadvantage for it not to be there for them. But Chennai will probably feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, Chennai, of course, the star favourites in my eyes. I know that KKR have done extremely well, but like you said, the Sharjah factor is not taken out of the equation. Right, so let's talk about tactics, because these two are definitely shrewdest of the lot, which is MS Dhoni and Owen Morgan. Owen Morgan can't seem to buy a run. I mean, even yesterday we spoke about how he got a small edge, and then he was eventually castled by Nokia. But it comes back to the question: who's their strongest team to take on the CSK juggernaut, so to speak? Because Shakib's been all right, and it's been conditions kind of like helping him through. Andy Russell certainly comes in. I know we spoke about it yesterday, but please.
No. I mean, I think that if they want their best 11, Owen Morgan's not in it. If the pitch isn't spinning, they would probably Shakib won't play. But I think they'll look for every available excuse to get Andre Russell back, unless they don't think they'll get him at 100%. They're going to need him to bowl at least 2, maybe 3 overs. With his injury history, that's tricky. So bringing him back from injury with, I mean, his knees, let alone all the other injuries he's got in this tournament, is tricky enough. So I think from that perspective, I would say that Shakib probably doesn't play and Andre Russell does play if Andre Russell is fit, would be my guess. And I can't see them dropping Morgan now, although I have seen some Kolkata fans still desperate for that. I mean, hold on to your dreams, sweet.
Yeah, I mean, there was another left-hander who won the titles for them, I guess, in Gautam Gambhir, and he certainly was undroppable. But with Morgan's always questionable, especially with the fact that Nathan Lehman also kind of assists him on the side, so they're playing the 5th foreigner there. But jokes apart, CSK, is it Faf and Ruturaj kind of going to do the same old stuff for them, and then their bowlers eke out a win? Do you think that's their winning formula?
Yeah, I mean, they just bat so deep, and the openers have been very consistent for them. The middle order players have attacked spin quite well. Ravi Jadeja's just been quite good at the death. I mean, Dhoni's had a poor year. They can get hitting out of Bravo sometimes as well. That they sent Shardul up the order. There's just a lot of options, a lot of hitting options for them. And also Jadeja can bat higher up the order. Dhoni can bat up the order. They have that kind of flexibility that a lot of other teams just wish they had, and that's why they are, in the final straight away. So yeah, for them, they're not going to go away from their formula, which is probably being a little bit more cautious at the start than some other teams might be, making sure that they've got a good platform, and then sort of surging towards the end with, hopefully for them, Jadeja, Bravo, Dhoni hitting out a little bit, and that's kind of what they would be looking for. Will
it come down to experience? Because Chennai have winners. I mean, Faf, Dhoni, Jadeja himself, they've been in these situations before. They can really read the game better than some of the CSK guys who might be overwhelmed by the occasion. Is it that old saying that you don't play the occasion, you just play the game?
Look, I think if you look at the other team, there's a bit of experience in that team as well. Shakib, Narayan, Morgan, Andre Russell if he plays. So I'm not too worried about the difference in experience between the two teams. I think there's one big difference. I'm going to leave that whole captaincy nonsense away from it, but there's one big difference in that Kolkata's basically been throwing the dice a little bit and hoping that magic combinations have worked for them. And so far, everything has worked since the resumption. Chennai hasn't had to do that because Chennai is just a better team than everyone else. So you would think based on that, that's kind of where my prediction for Chennai to win comes from. It's based on the fact that Chennai is a better team, and that if this game was played 10 times, I would expect them to win the majority of those games. Doesn't mean they'll win the one-off game. And Kolkata certainly surging, certainly a lot going on there. But they've had a lot go right for them since the resumption. 2 knockout games in a row. 3 knockout games in a row would be an extraordinary feat against, I think, the best team in the competition. And I don't see it happening.
It'll be a wonderful week because if they can topple the best, they are the best at the end of the day. So KKR will definitely have the bragging rights till next year and thereabouts. Right, so let's for one last time on Cricket vs Machine get the predictions out of the way because it's been a fantastic show, but for some reasons we've just not got the appreciation we felt like we've got. So let's now get the final predictions in for the final. Top batsman, top bowler and winner. Top batsman, there are quite a few picks here. Venkatesh Iyer comes to mind. There is, of course, Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's in the race for the orange cap. I know who you're going for, I think. Can you say it to the viewers, please?
Well, Shubman Gill made runs yesterday, didn't he? So I think... I feel like every time I've said his name, he hasn't made runs. And when I haven't said his name, he's done okay. I I think this is going to be a very, very important game for the players who play spin.
Yeah, and by the way, Critletics is going for his son, so that's a no-brainer, right? You know
obviously. So I'm gonna go up a bit random. I'm not gonna go for one of the openers. I'm actually gonna go for Raidu in the middle because I just think he's been playing spin very well, and I think they're going to have to score off those players, and he's going to play a major role in that. I think his form's been fantastic this year, and the way that he's played in that middle section for them. So I think that's where I'm going to go. A bit of a random one, but hey, you know, Crickletics goes for Rahul Tripathi even when he's not playing. So.
Okay, super. So Raidu, and there's a fun fact about Raidu. Every time he's been not out, he invariably sees CSK home. It's been like 14 times he's done this in his IPL times with CSK, so that's brilliant. Bowlers, and Varun Chakravarti stands up for Critletics. I think that's his second son, Critletics, because honestly, if he wasn't playing a couple of games, I think last season was still went for him. I mean, remarkable, right? So Varun Chakravarti and who was it? Rahul Tripathi. So both KKR picks from Critletics. You've gone for, of course, Amati Raidu. Are you going to go for a CSK bowler?
Yes. I am going to go for a CSK bowler, but I haven't quite fully worked. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go for Chahar.
Okay.
I think Kolkata is going to be told to go for it, and I think that there will be a possibility of a couple of early wickets, and if anyone's going to take them, they're going to be Chahar. I thought if they had a slightly more attacking spinner with Chennai, I probably would have gone with one of their spinners, but their spinners are obviously a bit more defensive focused rather than, you know, big time attacking bowlers. So yeah, so I think that Chahar is I think he's a solid pick in this.
Okay, Deepak Chahar, of course, possesses such a great weapon for Dhoni, especially in the power plays. He's done it before. Can he really stand up and deliver on the occasion? And he has the lady luck as well. I mean, if you guys haven't checked that out on the socials, which is hilarious. But before we move on to the winner prediction, it is for you guys to check this out back at home in terms of the Fantasy Research Center. It's brand new. It's updated. You can make your teams, of course, because the time's ticking for the final. So check it out, and we'll come back in just a bit. Cricket is a numbers game, and Fantasy Center lets you access all the stats. Play fantasy cricket. Access player fantasy stats. Build your team based on numbers with some help from us. And choose your kind of team. Save and export to FanFight or anywhere else. Truly, cricket like never before. Right, so we hope you enjoyed that little clip. There's more to come. There's a fan goodie bag question we're also asking right now, so you can let us know in the comments below. Who's going to bowl the most dot balls? Now, the producer has gone for this question about 8 times in the season. I'm like, come on, just give me something new. But the dot balls is, I think, the all-important thing that we're all asking for you guys to let us know. Who will bowl them? Jarrod shouted out Deepak Chahar to be the best bowler. He invariably bowls about 12, 13 dot balls on an average. Let's see if he can get that or if someone else can match him. Winner time, and Critletics, any guess who they're backing in the final?
Chennai.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure because they picked Tripathi and Chakravarti. So, but I mean, I cannot imagine that Crickletics has come up with anyone other than Chennai for winning this game.
I'll tell you what, I think you do have an app on your phone, and that's why you've kind of gone away with the answers. 52% Chennai. Are you going to go siding with the machine here? Because by the looks of things, I think I can read what's coming.
Yeah, I think 52% is low. As I said, I think they're closer to probably 55% chance of winning this game. That doesn't mean that, you know, that still gives Kolkata a really, really good chance going in. But
52% is low, but 55% is all right.
No, well, 55%, you know, if you there's a jump there. Okay. You know, 52 is very close to a 50-50 shot. 55, we're starting to move up to, you know, 5.5, 6 out of 10. But I suppose the point is that I think Kolkata are a really good chance of winning this game. But I think I can't see. I think a lot has to continually go right for Kolkata for them to beat Chennai. And it seems to me that almost most of this season, when teams have gone up against Chennai, things have gone right for Chennai because they're a better team than everyone else.
I honestly think it comes down to the toss, guys. I know I'm going to be sounding like a boring old fellow here because it's so vital in Dubai. We've seen it. Numbers, they say stats are for brats, but ask Dhoni that, ask Morgan that, ask Nathan Lehman that. Because at the end of the day, Jarrod as well, I mean, he's all about stats as well. And he's certainly not a brat. Thanks so much, Jarrod, for joining us in this little preview, I should say. If I will get you for the review, speaking of which. And hopefully you come out right in terms of toppling the robot because you're way past him. He can't beat you. We'll end on that happy note. And all you KKR fans, good luck because it could be third time lucky for you guys in terms of actually going a hat-trick of IPL titles.